Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series Accidentally Adopted. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Part 5, Chapter 15, Day by Day. Dear Diary, Greg, Daddy, and the Lander sat around a table in the cantina and talked for a couple of hours today. I thought about trying to eavesdrop, but decided to focus on opening a line of communication for a dart war and setting sneakies. Journal entry 67, date 1/11/7, name Greg George. Well, apart from our destination, there wasn't very much useful information. I mean, sure, the SWAT dudes gathered a crap ton of evidence, but that's not exactly tactical data. So far as I'm concerned, a conviction is a foregone conclusion, but their job is to make sure that that doesn't get fecked up, so I'm not complaining. An interesting tidbit is that the local scum were buzzing about a general escalation of hostilities against the Believer Seas to bring back something like an age of piracy or some stupid crap like that. I've decided to increase the difficulty of the combat readiness drills. Log 6,001.2.10. Personal, Captain Yormdrill. Listening to the reports that I can do literally nothing with is soul-crushing. It does make me wish that the Weesing had her own shuttle, preferably of the assault variety. I floated the possibility that alive if possible doesn't necessitate that we ensure that all of his limbs remain intact. Journal entry 71, date 1/12/5, name Greg George. Sometimes the rules I set for my own sanity journal are really fecking annoying. Who would know if I broke them? Nobody but me, because I never even fecking wrote them down, so I could just leave this as sort of a musing on the nature of self-imposed rules and crap. But I won't, because I'm just that fecking autistic, I guess, feck's sake. So, crap was fecked. I dreamed that the grub got me, and I rampaged through the ship, murdering all of my family and friends. Feck you, subconscious. That's never going to happen on account of the poison appendix. So I really didn't need to wake up silently, screaming with gross fecking tears running down my face. Feck you. This wee thing is home. Everything is fine. I'll make it fine. Lucy's getting goddamn clever and crap. We had us another chat, except this time she opened up. She had to fight against feelings like she was useless while I was planetside getting Linus back. That she knows in her head that she had an important job to do that I and everyone else was depending on. But it didn't stop her from feeling like she should be able to do more. The fact up thing is, I don't really have good advice to give. Since I'm in the same fecking fight. I never liked people brushing me off with platitudes and the like, so I flat out told her that almost every day I have intrusive thoughts that if I'm not fighting something, I'm not helping the ship. Since I don't know how to stop my own intrusive thoughts, I'm not much help with hers. I apologized and she thanked me. Christ knows for what. Other way round, kid. Other way round. I really hope this doesn't turn into a flood of faking feelings. I'm crap at that kind of thing. In other news, Pops got pranked by Uncle. He got a bit of floor tiling to stick to one of his shoes somehow, and it played squeaky noises with every step thereafter. I've been on the lookout for similar traps. Log 6,001.2.15, personal, Captain Yormdrill. It is interesting to have a crew so focused. We're not just plying the hyperspace sea to make our living. We have a mission. It's in the small things, such as the decrease of speaking in terms of maybe or perhaps, but rather when. It seems that amongst the crew, it is a foregone conclusion that the Weesing will catch her quarry. The doubt seems to lie in whether Gregory will be well once we have. For my own mind, I have grown confident that he will be well, whatever the outcome. It is clear to me that he is a resilient man, and whatever setbacks were incurred in his healing, they are well on their way to being passed by. What I do not know is whether the Weesing can be content with the safest routes after accomplishing something so weighty as the protection of an entire extended family. Dear Diary, I finally got Greg to talk about his experiences, kind of. What I read about said that talking about where someone feels weak or not good enough can help someone like Greg. Maybe he was a little underhanded, but I decided to start off by telling Greg how it felt to be behind on the ship and helping by making sure that the grown-ups could work without worrying. Really, it was harder to talk about that than I thought it would be. I thought I had already sorted through how I felt about that stuff. Except Greg tried to give me advice. Well, it was more like he said he was sorry that he didn't know any good advice for intrusive thoughts. He told me about his intrusive thoughts, about feeling like he needs to be fighting to be useful. But he knows that isn't true. I told him that I'm glad that he's fighting against thoughts like that it makes me feel like I'm not fighting alone. I think it helped. From the memoir of Beastmaster Salvace. Why is the ship so egg-breaking slow? Log 6,001.2.16. Personal, Captain Yormdrawl. Engineering tells me that we're operating at peak efficiency, and the extra set of hands and eyes is really making the difference. Bick isn't anywhere close to being a certified engineer, but he reportedly takes direction well and has a decent understanding of the underlying principles behind most of the ship's systems. It's a shame that we have very little in terms of seafood aboard, or at least in comparison to what he is used to. I've become more than simply competent with both the magnetic accelerator and the plasma caster, and my slowness to draw my shock crystal when we were last in danger is being remedied. It would be unfair to simply expect Gregory to shoulder the burden of self-defense for whoever he happens to be with. We defend each other. Dear Diary, Farside Station can't put together a team to do a dart war. Lame. I sold 975 sneakies, though, about a third of which are the dress blues ones. Greg says he'll get me a book of military uniforms of his people going back 1,000 years once he can talk to them, and that sounds cool, but I want to know what fashion is like for his people. He said uniforms are always good enough for him. Oh, stars. My brother has no taste. Journal entry 72, date 1/12/6. Name Greg George. So, sausage is an odd one. I asked him what his deal was with the googly-eyed feck, and he kind of tried to power play it, like we're a bunch of mistrustful misfits in a fecking movie. Dude is so far out of his depth, it's kind of hilarious. Anyway, I just answered his questions about why I'm after him and reminded him that he's a guest in my home and he doesn't have to act all mysterious if he doesn't want to talk about shit. Anyways, he got all embarrassed and admitted that it wasn't as dramatic as my reason. I don't think I'd call it dramatic, but I guess to a guy who experiences other planets through movies, it must seem that way. Anyway, apparently the fucker has been getting away with poaching some endangered wildlife on Sausage's planet for years now, and he said, I know I can't stop him myself, but if I can help, then maybe it'll be one less animal poached. Not much, I know, but it's better than just letting him do it over and over and over again. Especially if I was close enough to do something once, was too much of a coward to try. I told him that I know he's not the fighter type, and I'm glad that he didn't get himself killed on account of how he's a cool dude and a good workout partner. Dear Loggery, the Landers are making friends now. I think that we will have to say goodbye to them soon. I do not know if I want the wee thing to keep being a hero ship after we get the bad guy. I know that we will win because we are the good guys. End of chapter. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters: Bushmaster 117, Casper Arnholtz, Dragzoon W.R.E, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, Jon Carrington, and Sevaren Serberous. Thank you very much.